doesn't have a brother?
I know, girl. I Googled it. Better than this, I promise. I'm just closing ceremony, if you will, of Netflix's FYC LA Emmy Festival. Ooh, that is a mouthful. Netflix's FYC LA Emmy Festival. Oh, Netflix's FYC 2 Chainz. Okay. All right, let's give another round of applause, like I said before, to our amazing Los Angeles-based gymnasts in association with the Wendy Miller Gymnastics Foundation. Today we are going to be in conversation with the director and executive producer and the gymnast, the GOAT, the one and only Simone Biles of Simone Biles Rising. So without any further ado, guys, let me just let you know that Simone Biles Rising has already won a Critics' Choice Documentary Award and a PGA Award for Best Sports Documentary. And I know we got some Emmy voters in here, so let's make it an Emmy-nominated, Emmy-winning documentary. Can we do that? Can we do that? I believe in y'all. Listen, I got my good shoes out here. I believe in y'all. All right, so without any further ado, this is who you really want to see. Please help me in welcoming to the stage the director and executive producer, Katie Walsh. She look good in green. Go ahead, give us a little twirl. And the GOAT, okay? Not just the greatest athlete, not just the greatest gymnast of all time, the greatest athlete of all time. This woman has not one, not two, not three, not five. She has 11 Olympic medals, guys. 11. She is the GOAT, the greatest of all times. Please welcome to the stage, Miss Simone Biles. How you feeling?
Good.
You got your clavicles out?
Yes.
We're gonna have a good time today?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm gonna get right to it. Simone Biles Rising is not the first time you guys have worked together. You guys did Simone versus herself.
Mm-hmm.
So who calls who to say, you want to run this back? You want to do this again? And when does that call happen?
You know, I think after the pause, we saw the response and the need in the sports athletic world to see more sports docuseries, and we knew that might be an option, but I think obviously with everything that's happened, it took me a lot of time through therapy, and it was really a commitment to do. So we kind of sat down, we looked at what could and couldn't happen, and just obviously banter off of each other, and then decided, okay, if we're gonna do this, we're really gonna go for it, because we don't half-ass anything, and we want it to be great. It needs to have a story to be told, and there needs to be a correct storyline. So I think once we got together and did the collaboration, we were like, okay, we can go for it. I think sometimes they were like, okay, Simone, your story is so powerful, the kids will love it. Can you do it? And I'd be at home, at gym, nope, no more cameras. I just wanna train, and then I was like, okay, you guys got me.
I mean, the most important thing was you as a person and making sure that you felt good about your competitive journey, and then with us being there that you would feel good about that. So that was always the priority order, and just making sure, I feel like we did our check-in in the beginning, and then we did check-ins throughout. So just to make sure that we were always doing what was in your best interest throughout the whole process.
I see why you were the team captain. Even as you were talking, I was like, yes, I'm following the line too. It's like, am I in trouble?
Yeah.
Okay, so this Simone Biles Rising delves very deep in a lot of different topics.
Yeah.
How do you build the trust, and how do you know when to push, when to, not push, when to get the story? Obviously as a trusted director and friend and confidant, how do you guys manage that balance?
Well, I mean, my motto is people before projects, and I put everything through that filter. So every decision...
That's a good motto.
Once you reorganize all your thoughts and what you want for the film, but you put it through that filter, it really does help kind of organize what we're doing. So always putting Simone, the person, first before Simone Biles Rising, the film, and making sure that we were making good decisions that were good for the film, but really good for you.
Yes, and whenever it came down to speaking on certain topics that could be a little bit sensitive for me and for that audience, we obviously did check-ins beforehand, and she was always very sensitive about sitting me down and saying, okay, in these next sessions, when we have our sit downs, this is what we're going to talk about. If you want to push it down a later session, then we'll do that. So I think just having that good communication with another really, really helped. And at the end of the day, I got to work with family. They were really flies on the wall. I didn't notice them too much, but I think obviously with the experience I've had with them, it was so easy. They knew the gym bearings, they knew the house, they knew my family, and they knew me. And so sometimes I would give them the code to my house, like, okay, you guys can come in, you're ready, just make sure the dogs don't run out. But other than that, it was really easy to know what to talk about, when to push, when to pull back. It was very, very easy. I think we can read each other really, really well.
Yeah, for sure.
At what point did you change the codes back?
They're not. She can still come in my house to this day. She knows she's always welcome. Yeah.
She's like, hey, you got an Amazon package?
Yeah.
All right, the documentary follows your journey back to gymnastics and your heroic comeback following the Tokyo Olympic Games. Let's take a look back at Tokyo and what you were feeling at that moment.
Only she could have gotten the correct help that she needed. Obviously now I'm in that correct mind frame and I get the help that I deserve, but it is hard to look back and be like, there's nothing I could have done for her besides pull out and just say, you know what, take a pause.
Was there a moment before you went that you were like, maybe I shouldn't do this?
I knew that wasn't an option because we would count a 0 for Team USA. So I knew no matter what I did, I had to put up a score. I knew that I didn't know what I was gonna do. If you see me jittering before, that's exactly what happened. And I look back at that clip and I'm like, damn, that's the fittest I've ever been, the strongest I've ever been, but the weakest I've ever been mentally. So that is just where that disconnect comes in. So it's very interesting how your mind and your body work and that they both need to be strong and in sync to perform well.
It felt very similar to that, when they would tell LeBron, like, shut up and dribble.
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like we're people too.
Absolutely.
And I remember, especially as a Black woman, being like, stand on business, like, do what you have to do, because nobody, like, it's sometimes they look at athletes or performers or celebrities as like, we make you.
Yeah.
We make you successful, we make you think, but you were saying, no one makes me, and I need a minute.
Yeah.
How difficult was that decision?
In the moment, it seemed really, really tough as a viewer, but as an athlete and being in my shoes, that was an easy decision. I cannot go on. This is not physically well, I'm not mentally well, and at the end of the day, I was thinking about the team. I didn't want to take them out of medal contention, so I knew it was right for me to pull back. But in those moments, I wasn't thinking about, oh my gosh, what if I never go to an Olympic Games, all of that stuff. I was worried about my mental well-being and how is this going to affect me in the years to come. And so that's exactly why I pulled out and was like, you know what? My coaches are amazing. If I decide to want to train again, we'll get where we get. And if that's not the Olympics, at least I have my mind and my body all in sync, and that's a win in my book.
I love that you mean. Yes. You made peace with what was most important.
Absolutely, myself. I chose myself for once. In gymnastics, that's usually typically not the case. In past years, I would have never been able to do that, but I was surrounded by the right team, the right leadership, all of the things just fell in line for me to say, you know what, this isn't going well. Simone can take time for herself, and that's just what the world looked like at that point in time.
Yeah, I mean, 2021 was crazy. No one knew what was going on. Like, we was all trying to bake bread for no reason.
Yeah. Just everyone at home just trying to fight this invisible sickness, and we're out there like flipping for our lives. It just didn't really make sense.
And also, it was also probably the most loneliest Olympics because your parents couldn't be there, your family couldn't be there. So Katie, in the documentary, you were filming her family while she was experiencing that moment. Can you like take us to that moment? What was that like, and what was her family going through?
I mean, I remember it like it was yesterday. I can remember we got there so early because it was live. You were in Tokyo. It was 4 a.m. Her whole family was there. We all had matching T-shirts on. We were like ready to celebrate, and we had no idea what was about to happen and what Simone was going through in that moment. And what sticks with me is, the vault happened, and then we see you leave the floor. And then maybe a minute later, the landline rings at your mom's and dad's house. And obviously, you talk to Nellie. And I mean, as a mom, I think about what Nellie did in that moment. She immediately knew what to say. She's like, it's okay. You need to do what's best for you in this moment. There was no question. She was talking to her daughter, not to Simone Biles, the GOAT, in that moment. And it was such a pure and honest moment. I think it's what you needed to hear. You know?
Definitely. I think that helped me realize that in that moment, I'm worth more than gold medals. And this is going to be okay. We'll figure it out as a family once we get home, and we'll take the proper steps to get the help that I deserve.
Yes. Did that reaction surprise you? Like, I'm a child of immigrants.
Yeah.
And so I'm
Nigerians too.
Yeah.
That's easy.
And sometimes I'm afraid to go to them with stuff because I just feel like, I don't know if I'm going to get the right answer. It's like, you got to do it. Just go. Push through. I'm like, I want to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So did that care? Did that send your relationship with your mom to a new dimension, or were you kind of like, oh, I knew that was what she was gonna say?
I didn't know what she was gonna say, but I just knew that I needed to hear them in that moment.
Girl, can we get some tissue?
And I understood in that moment. It was kind of a panic of, do I tell people about this? Do I be vulnerable and open and honest and raw? And I stood in that power in that moment and said, you know what? Everyone has either told my story or heard my story. I think they need to hear this side of me, even if I'm being vulnerable, because it might touch just one person out there. And if it changes their life or helps them in a way, then that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because I didn't want to sugarcoat it. I wanted everyone to know exactly what I was going through at the height I was going through. And I just thought that was really important. And I knew that they would be able to tell the story in a correct way that made people feel understood, heard, and just at the end of the day, I'm just like Simone. I have mental health issues. I can go to therapy. I can get back up on my bike and ride again, and I can do whatever it is you have to do. But it's not rock bottom. You can always pull yourself out and lead again and step into that power.
I love that. There is yes, please. We're dropping gems. There's just
so cute.
I love what you said about telling your own story. There's an African proverb that says, I'm gonna paraphrase it, but it's as long as the tale of the hunt is left to the hunter, the lion's story will always be skewed.
Yeah.
Because it does matter who's telling your story.
And after that moment, we went into the mix zone, which is all of the media, and they said, Simone, you shouldn't talk to media. And I said, oh, you know what? I have a voice, and it's my basically permission to use it, and I think they need to hear it from me, because there's so many times my story has been told for me, and most of the time they get it about 98% correct, but this is something that they could not even, I didn't want them to fabricate it, and I wanted them to know exactly what was happening, what I was going through. So I knew that it was left up to me to tell my story, because they can't make something up. What they saw is, oh, she got lost. Oh, she doesn't want to compete for Team USA. Oh, this, that, the other. Because there were many excuses in the books. I'm sure they had a whole book, which one should we throw out there? And I was like, I got one. I know it, So obviously firsthand experience, but I thought it was really important to share that story so that it didn't get miscued.
Yeah, and a lot of times pundits and critics are people who say things about other people who can't do their job.
Yeah. Sitting on the couch.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Never done a flip in their life. I'm like, oh yeah, of course I was scared. Duh, I was scared. I didn't know what I was gonna do, but that was not like the theme of it. There's a lot that went through it, so.
The title of the series is Simone Biles Rising, and that is inspired by a Maya Angelou poem, obviously, Still I Rise, which you have a tattoo of. We're going to find a little bit more about that. Let's check it out. Roll that. So Katie, when did you decide to use that poem as inspiration? Well, I mean, it's like what, the title and also the episodes.
Early, driving somewhere one day before we even started filming. I knew you had the tattoo, and obviously anything that you're going to permanently ink on your body seems like something that's important to you. And I just started thinking about the poem and the words and the context of what you were going through and all the things that you've overcome and all the things that you were continuing to rise above, throughout this whole journey. It just was such a natural fit. It was one of the easiest decisions we made the whole film.
How do you keep rising beyond gymnastics?
Now it's the work that I do in the foster care community, because I was a foster care kid, so I know exactly what these kids go through, and I know that they need a constant in their life. So if I can provide that, or a company that I work with, Friends of the Children, can provide that, then that's exactly what we're gonna do. So that's kind of how I'm doing it daily, which is so exciting. But that quote resonates with me so well, because I've been kicked down so many times in gymnastics, had to overcome so many mental blocks, traumas, therapy, and I've always come out on top and better than I was before. So I was just like, okay, this is my favorite. And before I tattooed it on me, there are these stencils that you can get online, and I wanted to make sure that I liked it, the placement, and somewhere that I could see every day when I look into the mirror as a reminder, like, don't give up, you can still rise, you can do this, go out there and get them. So it was really just for myself. It honestly had nothing to do with gymnastics. It was just a life motto, but obviously it's helped me so much in the gym.
So we know how you rise.
Yeah.
How do you rest?
Rest, lay down, stop. I love to do any body care work, whether that's therapy, whether that's get my hair, nails, massage, all of that stuff, supporting my husband at his football games. That's kind of my view of resting, or just having a raw day with my girls at the house and the pool. No shame. I take a lot of mental work now with myself.
There's no shame at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
No one. And you're helping the masses. I just want you to know.
Oh, thank you.
Giving yourself freedom to do these things gives a lot of other people the freedom to do those things. That's what vulnerability is.
Absolutely.
It's actually strength in vulnerability.
There was a stat after that 40% of women around the world got the help that they deserve after they saw what happened in Tokyo, and then moving forward. Yeah. Go girls, women on top.
It's like you have access to my cue cards. Your experience with
We're
Tokyo Olympic
unstoppable.
Games, it opened up a very important global conversation about mental health. Let's take a look. To you.
Well, it's the expectations of the weight of the world, and again, you have to live up to that height. And so yes, they put us on pedestals, and I'm just saying, please, I know that I'm gifted with an unnatural talent, but I'm still normal at the end of the day. Speak to me like Simone from Spring, Texas. Don't speak to me like Simone Biles. And I know as elite athletes, a lot of people look up to us, and they want to know how many times a day we work out, what are the hours, what is our food calorie intake, what is XYZ. And just because I do that doesn't mean this is how your journey is going to be. So I see that as the same as mental health journey. It's always going to be up and down, and everyone's journey is unique to yourself. And just because EMDR works for me, it doesn't mean it will work for you. It probably will, because that is just such a good therapy, so maybe try it.
Shout out to you.
Yes.
I started EMDR in
So good.
that daggone tapping. I did womb work.
Yes.
I was seeing my birth canal. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah. You're just like, what?
They take you
so
all the
that
way
one
back.
really does help, but just because it takes me 3 sessions to kind of lessen the trauma of a memory doesn't mean it's going to take you 3 sessions. It might take you 6, 9, or vice versa. It might take me longer. And so I just think that is just, it goes back to reality. It's just like, please, 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 I'm still having these issues. I'm going through XYZ. Please don't look at my social media because one, that's not real life. You only show the parts that you want to show and the glorious parts. But I try to make an effort to show the downfalls too, so that you guys have something to relate to and say, you know what, Simone's not having a good day. She went to go get ice cream, or you know what, she's taking a mental health day. Then that gives me the permission to take a mental health day. And one, you guys deserve to do that because you know your bodies more than anyone, but I didn't want to be the poster child for anything. So I'm just begging, like, please, please, please do not put me on that pedestal. I cannot tell you how to fix it, but I can be a guide and I can help and I can share and I can be an advocate. So that was what that was about.
You know, yeah. What stands out to me in that, you know, we're obviously in Hollywood. A lot of people come here to chase dreams. A lot of people come here for a lot of different reasons. But when I hear people who say they want to be famous, I'm like, oh, you don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You don't even know what you're asking.
Yeah.
Because fame comes at a different price. It costs.
Right.
And I don't think people understand counting the cost of things.
Right.
And it sounds like when you see people who are celebrities, you're like, I can't go to, you know, CVS without makeup because then that's the one time they're gonna take a picture and you're like, oh, boo-hoo, but you have a house. It's like, yeah, but you just want to roll out to CVS in some sweatpants.
Absolutely.
And, you know, Michelle Obama talks about that. She's like, she hiding going shopping at midnight.
Yeah, it's always being on. And as a human, we get talked out, we get tired, and we just want, like, I made it a point. I just got back from Hong Kong on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I did not want to leave my house. I did for an hour and a half, and then my sister got me out of the house. But it's just things like that. I want to raw. I want to be in my own headspace. I want to be at my own peace, not talk to anybody. Not because I don't like to talk. I have a chatterbox, but I also get talked out. And I love to meet new people and do all these things. But sometimes it does come at a cost. And so I think when they think of fame, they think of the lifestyle, who you get to meet, the houses, the money, all of that stuff. What matters is peace. And at the end of the day, that's more valuable than anything. And so I think that's really important. And at the end of the day, when I started gymnastics, I never wanted to be famous.
Yeah.
I feel like it snatched me up and was like, it's you. And I was like, no, I want to go do college gymnastics. And then I saw the girls go to Italy and I was like, maybe you're right, it's me, let's try.
You want to be talented, you want to be successful, but don't I
didn't want to be the best in the world.
But here you go. But here we are. But here I didn't want to be the best in the world, but here I am.
I like to be in the background, I like to follow. Every once in a while, pop out, go back in my shell, but God was like, you're going to be the greatest. And I was like,
is coaching in your future since you want to be in the background?
I think further in the background. Okay. Like, you see him up there, kind of up there, nobody can see him, but that flash, that's where I like to be.
You know what I loved about this too is that you prioritize love.
Yeah.
And prioritize finding love, falling in love, being in love, enjoying love, which is a thing that, I don't know about y'all, I'm single, but I was watching it like, you better support her, yeah! Yeah, come on, black man, I see you, you got a brother. So
he doesn't have a brother.
I know, girl, I Googled it. ChatGPT told me. So, did that just happen, or were you like, I'm going to be intentional as I'm doing my healing, I'm also going to allow love in?
Yes, absolutely. I think it was very intentional, and at the end of the day, he was the only one, besides family and close friends, knew what I was going through. He's an elite athlete, so it even opened up his mind and was like, wow, my girl is one of the best in her sport in the world, and she's having this issues, which allows me to be vulnerable. And after that happened, he got his ass on the therapy and was like, you know what, I need to go see my therapist, and started it. And he just understood how powerful that was, because as a football player, you have to be so tough and tackle and to shut up. And he was like, you know what? No, I think I play better whenever I go to therapy, because I get to work out whatever issues that I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of being great. I'm afraid of being all of these things. Those are just things I made up. I'm not trying to air out his therapy. I know that's very, very...
He's never had a fear in his life. But he's not afraid.
Yes, but those are just things I'm saying that could help him. And just to be, I'm not trying to air his therapy out. But I just think being a football player, you could never be vulnerable. And elite athletes, we could never be vulnerable. So to see that switch of even my husband and seeing me, he's like, wow, you've truly inspired me to be the best version of myself on the field and off the field. And I think that's when love blossoms even more, because we have a better understanding of what each other is going through and how that can help in our relationship as well as outside, just in our respective sports. But I do think it's really important, and it gave him a voice so that he was able to be heard and say, you know what, I am a football player, but I am struggling and I do need this. So I think that's really important, because you don't see, nowadays you do see a lot more athletes speaking up and being vulnerable and telling everyone what's going on. But yeah, it's just, it was unheard of back in the day.
You know, that just goes to show, he that finds a good wife finds a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm ready to be found, guys. But no, I really love that, because I think it is the irony, right? It's the irony of the world that we live in. They think to be hard is to be hard, but like the hardest thing for most people to do is be soft.
Yes.
I mean, think about it. What's the hardest thing, like when you get in an argument, is to say, I'm sorry. It just means like, I don't want to fight anymore. I'm sorry. Or, okay, you were right. Just a little thing. She was like, is this couple stepping? I don't want to. Okay.
Give me a couple hours and then I'll say, you know, I'm stubborn. It works.
Oh, we're finding out. We found out how stubborn you were.
Yeah.
Okay, your parents. I'm speaking of family, because I think a lot of what you shared and a lot of what you received also started at home. And this, Katie, you did such an amazing job showcasing and highlighting how important your sister, your husband, everyone just played a very important role in the series. So let's take a look. This scene means so much to so many different people. As a Black woman, I mean, look, the symbolism. Heavy's the head that wears the crown. She's literally touching your crown, getting your crown ready for competition.
Yeah.
It is when she says Tokyo was the only time.
Yeah.
Oh, Katie, talk to us about, like, I'm baby, trying to put it together. Was that intentional? Like, hey, I want to get this shot, or like, why was that important for you?
It was an important ritual for Simone and her mom, and it happened all the time, whether we were there or not. It was not put on for us, and I understood how much it meant to you and to Nellie to be able to check in with you. And you know, it was something you'd done your whole life, but it took another level of meaning on after Tokyo, when she couldn't be there for you. So it felt like such an important moment to capture in the film.
And also, I'm not gonna lie to you, as somebody who watches gymnastics and Olympics, I definitely was like, so that's how they be doing their hair. Okay, so that's who does it before, because y'all are glammed up.
We do it ourselves.
Live.
She's not allowed in the village. So actually, Jordan was there braiding my hair, like, hey, can I get in line?
Wow. So but I mean, she started off right though.
Yes, absolutely. This was at a World Championships, and I know how important it is, because I know how stressful these competitions can be. So for my mom, that was a stress reliever. Before, if she couldn't get to me and was allowed to braid my hair previously, she would always give me a phone call, and I used to answer them, but then she was just like, okay, Simone, we gotta do this, and then good luck. And I'd be like, you're stressing me out, I can't. So then I would just wait for it to go to voicemail, and then her and my aunts would leave me voice notes so that I could at least listen to them. And so I know that was really important to just get that touch, and I knew that it meant so much to my mom to be able to braid my hair before, because one, again, it's that bonding, and it's just something that she's used to. That's her routine. That's what calms her down. And if I can just go get my hair braided and be like, okay, I know she's less stressed for the meet, and she can go in, put her gear on, and be like, okay, I know my girl is good because I saw her. This is that. So
I felt like the power of the ancestors and the Black Panther were all there.
Sometimes I feel like we have vibranium, but I do feel like a lot of parents can resonate with that one particular moment, because whether it's a kiss, getting your hair braided, the handshakes that you guys do, and all of that stuff, it just calms you, it relaxes you, and in a way it relaxes me because I can see how calm she is, because I don't want her to go to the meet nervous or worried about me, because then I'm worried that she's worried about me and I don't have anything to worry about. So I feel like it goes both ways, but I know that's, for both of us, that's just calming, even if we don't say much in those moments.
There was also a real moment of levity that we were just laughing about in that scene, because Nellie did that braid at least 3 times. Someone was like, it's crooked. Nope, it's crooked. Do it again. And I kept doing it over and over. And it was
I think she did it on purpose so she could spend more time with me.
Listen, they gotta get the moments they can get. It's
Absolutely.
Like, do you want S-curls? Do you want a baby hair? Do you want...
Yeah. And she was like, it's fine, baby. Nobody will notice. And I was like, everybody's gonna notice. And I'm gonna tell them my mom did my hair. And so she was like, okay, sit down, let's do it again. But I truly believe it was just that touch that she needed. And I think she got into the rhythm so quickly that she did the braids so quickly. And she was like, okay. And then I was like, oh, it's crooked. And she was like, okay, I'll do it again. I'll do it again, no worries. Like, but she really, really loved it.
But again, that speaks to those moments in the docuseries that like humanize
Absolutely.
you. That like
My dad is in there too. You don't see him in the corner, but he's in the corner watching my mom braid, asking questions. So it really is just like a family thing.
Has he ever tried to braid you?
No.
What
Back in
would
the day, he used to trim my hair back here for whatever reason. Like, I don't know, but he doesn't get the touch anymore. He just gets the kiss and the text.
What rituals do you have with him?
Nothing. My dad is so calm on meet days that it's really nothing. He'll just be like, Simone, you good? Okay, got there, sweetheart. Don't hurt yourself. I love you. That's just his thing. And I'm like, okay, Dad, thank
Such a
you.
black dad. You
Yeah.
good? You hungry? You eat?
Yeah.
Fine.
It's just like so simple. And I was like, come here, I need to do your hair. What time is this? Blah, blah. Do you want a bow? Do you want this? And my dad is just very, very simple. Like, Nellie, calm down. I'm like, yeah.
All right. So when you guys got unprecedented access to the Olympics, like the Olympics in a way that I don't think any other sports documentaries have, how did you manage that? Who did you shake down?
I mean, it was a
process.
It was a process. We worked with the IOC, and they were incredible in what access they allowed. And I've been to many Olympics, and I've never been to the Olympics in the way that I was this time. Not just on the floor and the gymnastics events, but at the Olympic Village. We were able to be with Simone throughout the whole process. And to Simone's credit too, she allowed us in throughout the whole process. And the combination of that is what allowed us to see a different side of what was happening at the Olympics and the more personal side of what's happening for you at the Olympics.
Right.
And I was, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and there were times where I felt like that truly helped, because that was the family that was allowed in the village, the familiar faces, and just the, how are you doing today? Okay, we're gonna do your interview. And then on the side, it'd be like, okay, well, I talked to my therapist. So it really was a mother figure in that village for me. It wasn't just all about filming. She would always check in, hey, do you want me to sneak you any Cheetos or whatever it is? And I'd be like, no, I'm good. I really feel good. But I think that helped so much to just have somebody so close, and to know that I could talk to, I could lean on her, and she was there while filming. It really was just so special for me, because it was a familiar face if I ever needed. Yeah.
I love that. This is why y'all work great together.
Yeah.
Listen, it doesn't matter who you partner with, and it doesn't matter who you partner with to tell your story.
Absolutely.
Now, I will tell you, I was in Paris in the Olympics, and it's so funny when you're in another country, like what they show is very skewed. They're like, in Paris, it's like only the French stuff, or maybe London. Let me tell you right now, everybody was rooting for you, okay? It didn't matter what country they were. It's like, Simone Biles, yeah, I tapped in. Like, it was amazing to see the world rally behind you in a beautiful way. Let's take a look. And in case you don't know, you earned 4 medals in Paris, 3 gold and 1 silver. Yeah. Give it up. What's going through your mind in that moment? We know what goes through your mind in moments that are hard. In that moment where you...
Well, as soon as I landed, I knew I had done it. So that's why you saw like the aggressive flick of the wrist. Like, I just did that. what was going through my mind was probably NBC would have had to edit all of it because they probably couldn't have used any of it, so I'm not gonna repeat any of it. But definitely excitement, and I just knew that the therapy had worked. My circle of trust, we did it, we earned it. And whenever I step on the top of the podium and I hear the national anthem, it's not just me receiving that medal. I truly believe it's for my family, my friends, my mentors, Katie, everyone that has helped and pushed me to be the best version of myself, to get back up there on that podium and try again. That's truly what it's all about and who it's for. So it's really not just me. It takes a village to be who I am. And it's not hard, but I am so grateful for my village.
I love that. Did you secretly want to grab your phone and go on X or Twitter or whatever it's called now?
I didn't want to stir up any more issues than I already was stirring up, but we definitely did do a TikTok. I was like, let's do a TikTok.
Hi haters! Hi haters! Be petty.
Yeah. So and there was a couple, but yeah.
She's like, how am I going back?
You know, I've matured. I've learned. I know when to fight back, and that moment was for me. So there was none of that. None of that mattered. It was just for us.
You know, and what I love is that, you know, people will talk about you when you're doing good, bad, or nothing at all. So you might as well do what you're going to do, and that's exactly what you did. You chose yourself, and baby, you got that moment. I always say, like, like I don't drive a stick shift, but this is what they tell me. But in order to shift gears, in order to go to gear 2, you gotta go back. And so it's like, in order for you to go to the mountaintop, and which you did, you had to step back.
Yeah.
And I love that. And your cameras were right there, Katie. And what I know about this is that you had an all-female led
Yes.
camera crew. Let's talk about it.
Jessica's here somewhere.
Jessica, the DP.
And she got that amazing shot in slow motion of Simone holding the flag, because only Jessica could get that.
No, seriously.
No, it was the look. I don't know who you were looking at. If you reminds me of that Beyonce concert where she's like, she ain't no diva. And like, you look like I wish you would step on this mat. It's like, I don't know what's happening.
But you know, it's those little mantras that you have to tell yourself before you get up and before you perform. And obviously, I have them as well. So yeah, at the end of the day, I do step up and I step into that power, and I'm like, you know what? It's you against the world right now, but really it's you against you. And so that's what we're out there to do.
I'm my own competition. I'm competing with myself. The great poet Cardi B. That was. So we are about to wrap up, but Katie, you have spent so much time with Simone. What is the one thing or things that surprised you the most about her, and the one thing that you've learned about her?
Well, I think it doesn't surprise me, but what I have seen from Simone behind the camera is that she shows up. She shows up for her family. She shows up for her friends. She has the same friends she's had her whole life. She is a good friend, and her friends are good to her. And I think that says a lot about you as a person and the person you are when no one's paying attention. And it's something that I will always just kind of be inspired by and remember, because no matter how big you become, you always find time for your family and your friends.
I love that. Is there anything you want to leave us with?
Oh my goodness, no, I've had such a good time filming. Obviously, I wish I could show more of my life so that people can relate more to the besides the gold medals that I win and the things that I do that are very, very unnatural. But for the kids to see and to watch the story, it doesn't matter how you start, it's where you end and where you go from there. So I think that's really important. So.
LA 28, you coming back?
Yeah. Well, of course you're gonna ask that.
I said coming back. You can be a spectator. You know, LA got good weather.
I know.
Back
How much are
Mexico
tickets,
food.
guys? Is it less expensive to be on the mat? You know, No, most definitely. I think it's such a blessing that LA 2028, the Olympics, is here, and I'm not sure at what capacity, because if we've learned anything from the docuseries, it's your mind and your body have to be in sync. So I'm currently taking a little bit of time off to, one, support my husband, and two, to just take time off, because what we put our bodies through on the mat is a lot. It's physically taxing, and at my old age, it's getting to be a lot. 28.
Yeah,
But for gymnasts, that's old. For gymnasts, that's old. Y'all are like 4.
I am a geriatric patient, apparently.
But I do believe that I will be in LA. I'm just not sure at what capacity yet, if that's on the mat or in the stands, but I'd be more than happy to attend in any way that I can.
You heard it! That's all the time we have. Give it up for Katie. Simone. Give it up for yourself. Thank you so much for being here. Please vote. I want to say thank you to Netflix for putting this on, to Netflix for having me, and everybody, and also everyone who did these few parts. I appreciate y'all. All right, you guys have a good night. God bless.
Thank you.